I would say maybe 13 years ago, we decided that we needed another business. I was in direct sales, working for a well-known blind company in the UK, which is national. I actually loved my job. I loved dealing with people. I loved the sales side of things. John basically was needing to start up another business. He was the one that was he was actually looking really for a franchise, and came across the wheel specialist, and we liked the business model. We've definitely grown along with the franchise itself. So we took on a manager, we had a few staff, good few staff. We just got it up and running from there. We were out, in these days, we were out leaflet dropping, had my children out leaflet dropping. You've got to be very much a people person, right, in the front office. But as I say, when I was out doing the blinds, I would go and do my blinds, sell some blinds to somebody, and then whatever street I was in or whatever town I was in, I would have a handful of leaflets from the wheel specialist, and then I used to go around whatever street and just pop the leaflets through people's doors. And it was amazing, because it could even be a year later, you'd get somebody who'd come in and they'd hand you this leaflet and say, this came through my door and I knew I'd need it sometime, and I just had it on my notice board. Quick Fits in particular, they were very good. It was a no-brainer really. They were getting inundated with people where their tyres were going down, and if their boys were clued up enough to realise it wasn't the tyre, it was the wheels that were needing refurbished. So we built a good rapport with all the Quick Fits, which we still have to this day. About 4 years ago, we decided that we'd like to try and take a step back, but the only way we could do it was to have somebody in that knew what they were doing. The manager we had at the time was excellent. He was very, very good, but he was no good at being able to do the things out the back, i.e. the powder coating, the diamond cutting. So we decided we'd need to have someone in that knew what they were doing. So Jonny was the ideal candidate. We knew if Jonny was trained up in all aspects of running the day-to-day business here, he would be quite capable of being left on his own. So about 6 months after Jonny came on board, he brought Nicole in to do the office. Then let John and I really not need to be here. Obviously we still have to oversee the business, more so John. If he's needed, we only live about 15-20 minutes away, so it's very, very rare, but sometimes Jonny will have to call, somebody's not in, can John come down and help, or cover the holidays, things like that. But I mean, that's the only time really. We know Jonny, we know how he works, we trust him 100%. We're quite happy to go off on holiday. We don't have sleepless nights like we have had in the past. We come back and everything's hunky-dory.
When Nicole and I started to take over Newcastle at the end of 2018, the Newcastle franchise was already a very successful branch. They were regularly doing the best months of the whole franchise, and obviously it was quite a daunting task to then try to not only keep up with that, but also to expand and move on and to get even more customer and even more business.
We do like a challenge, so when we came into it, we don't get me wrong, we were petrified. Like, we were making little spreadsheets of like, what if this, what if that, and thinking of all these things what could potentially go wrong. I remember we made a list of things we liked about the previous franchise we were in and what we would potentially want to take from that into Newcastle. One of that being like staffing, how we operate things. We both have like really fast momentum, so we know that we're very fast working people. So we knew that the amount of work wasn't going to be an issue. But again, it was the whole thing of, we've watched Newcastle be at the top of the leaderboard for so long, and we're just like, we would hate to come in and then for it to just be like a notch down.
Nicole and I had the benefit of working at the Wheel Specialist Teesside for a number of years before coming up to the Wheel Specialist Newcastle. What was really handy about this was any little problems that you would anticipate when running a business like this, whether it be dealing with customers, issues with customers' cars, customers' wheels, tyres, or even dealing with staff. We kind of had a really good idea of how to deal with all these problems, and therefore when we've come up to Newcastle, we're already primed and ready to deal with these scenarios. As for the day-to-day running of the business, Nicole is constantly on the front of house because she's fantastic with customers. Everyone comes in, likes how happy, chatty, giggly she is, and not only that, but she knows the job inside out. She knows, as much as me on wheel refurbishment, in the sense where she can go out and have a look at a wheel, know the exact problem, and explain all this to the customer. And quite regularly, customers will come in and be very shocked at how much information Nicole actually knows about the wheel refurbishment process. In 2021, we did the highest grossing year of the wheel specialist. At the start of the year, in March and April, where we started hitting these really big figures, it took its toll on me, sometimes working till 10 o'clock at night, and ultimately it got to the point where we knew we needed to take someone else on. So we now have 5 staff in the workshop, which seems to be a comfortable amount, because then you can juggle their workload across driving, you can juggle it across, your cutting, your powder coating and everything else.
We did previously have only 4 along with yourself in there as well, which is another thing we've changed from when we first started. So predominantly Jonny was in the workshop as well, helping out, doing the actual
day-to-day running.
The actual graft in the workshop. We've kind of made you step back a little bit from that and start to actually take on a more managerial role, as in seeing to customers, seeing to traders, literally looking at it as a bird's eye view of the whole place. So when we first started, our trade to public customers was about 70-30, around that sort of figures. One of the things we wanted to do when we started was try and boost the public work. We have successfully done that. We are now averagely about 50-50. We get a lot of customers from social media. Mostly of them are referrals, so either referrals from trade customers, existing customers who have been here before.
The trade work is the backbone of the business, where there's constant work coming from the dealers and from traders. We try and speak to our trade customers at least once a week, and some of the more regular ones will speak to them almost daily and have a car a day from them perhaps. In regards to the private customers, we get a lot of leads and quotes that come through the CRM, as well as from Facebook and as well as from Instagram.
To get new traders, we do get quite a lot of people come to us because, again, they've heard about us, they have seen us on social media.
Within the motor trade, people move around to different jobs regularly. Mechanics move to different garages. You also get salesmen moving to different dealerships. And I think it's very important that you have to have a good reputation. It doesn't necessarily have to be the reputation that you're the cheapest product. It has to be the reputation that you can provide the best turnaround speeds and you can provide the best quality work. And that way, without cutting corners, you're always going to get this return in trade work from the same dealerships and the same garages that you're already getting work from, but also from the new places that these people move around to. And word of mouth is still very, very important in this industry.
So we do use social media. We use social media quite a lot. We do try and post wherever we can, possibly daily. We have fell back on that a little bit this year just because we have been trying to focus on different areas of the business. We do want to obviously get back into uploading all of the time on social media. Moving the branch forward, we are trying to push more on products. We are trying to push more on social media.
2021 was obviously a fantastic year for the Wheel Specialist Newcastle. We managed to have highest product sales, highest service sales and highest overall sales across the network. This is predominantly down to having a very, very efficient workforce and being able to get the work in and out of the unit very efficiently. On top of that, we've sold more tyres than we could have ever anticipated simply by looking at tyres. So when we look at this and how we want to move forward, it's quite simple really. We just want to get more wheels in and we want to sell more tyres. It couldn't be more simple really. We just need to make sure that we can still do all the work.
Obviously want to grow the company to a place of great statistics. As last year, we would like to have record-breaking months again. We would like record-breaking figures.
The support that we get from head office is fantastic in the sense that we have a disclaimer for every single process that we do. We also have advice from head office on how to deal with certain customers and how to deal with certain processes.
We get monthly newsletters to keep us informed about what's going on, again, within the market, social media, our suppliers, what's new, what's old, what we're phasing out, what's coming up. Again, it keeps us very informed about what's actually going on in the outside world.
As well as this, we've obviously got the whole interaction system on the CRM where we can track and monitor leads, we can track and monitor our jobs, invoices, statements. It's just a complete all-in-one system that is really like a crucial part to how the Wheel Specialist Newcastle runs.
It's never ending, is it? You're your own competitor, really. As long as we do better than the day before, that's all what matters to us.
We get a lot of support from head office. We always have done, actually, over the years. I've probably used them more than I should have done, but they're always very helpful, especially with IT, because that was somewhere that I struggled. Marketing was very good. Anything really, any issues at all, there was always somebody to answer the phone. The best part for me especially was even a weekend, if we were stuck with something, you could actually ring Ginny on her mobile and she'd actually answer. So that was great. She probably still does, you know, if I was ever needing anything. It's very valuable. You've got to have head office. We couldn't have done this on our own. You know, they've got the business model. We've just implemented what they say, and it works. The peace of mind that we have now, having both Jonny and Nicole here, is amazing. It's just let us go away a bit more, have a bit more time at home. We've got other interests that we can do now as well, because we don't need to be here, really, you know. It's very rare that I come in now. If I do, if the phone rings, I'll answer the phone, or if a customer's outside, I'll always speak to a customer. I think it's important as well, though, that you do have to keep your hand in, right? Because so much changes with the CRM, especially. So I'm not always too good at that, but again, thankfully, Nicole's now training one of the boys out the back on the CRM machine. So that helps, but going forward, it's all going to be Jonny and Nicole.